right, that we didn't want to have this be, oh, hey, looks like we've got it's saying we're on YouTube. So that's great. Okay, we're set. So
All
if anybody needs to adjust their camera or anything to get a good shot of the mayor, by all means, but I think we're good to go. Did you have anything you wanted to start with, Madam Mayor?
Sure. I'm just gonna start. Okay, hold on. All right. Hi everyone. It's nice to see you. I've been at home for about 15 days self-quarantining. Many of you may or may not know I take immunosuppressants for a kidney transplant. So I'm being extremely diligent and following all the orders. I wanted to start out by saying the governor has put in place a stay-at-home order. I want everyone to take that extremely serious now more than ever. I want to reiterate that this month is going to be long and it's going to be incredibly difficult. This is the month where we're seeing the numbers really go to an incline. And so we want to make sure that everyone understands the severity of the situation. That's why I wanted to get my media partners in the room with me today. So one of the things that I'm going to request that everyone wear a mask in the city of Reno. I believe the CDC is going to get there, but I feel really, really strongly about this now more than ever. This is not the time to be vain. Matter of fact, I want everyone to make this your new fashion accessory. But I want to reiterate about masks. The N95 masks are for healthcare providers. If you have any of those, I would ask that you please donate those to our 3 hospitals or to our first responders. And if you're going out to get groceries or gas, I want to remind you that you can wear just a regular mask because a lot of people are asymptomatic and don't know that they have this virus. It's highly, highly contagious. A lot of people have said, well, it's just the flu. It's not the flu. It's 10 times more contagious than the flu. And not only that, we have a vaccine for the flu. Also, there are some reports that it could be airborne. And you might not know that. So I want to take every precaution that we possibly can. I know that, people might say, hey, that mayor is crazy, but I would much rather be crazy and protect our citizens at the best that we can. And I think it would also offer some people that are immunocompromised or have underlying health conditions. If you're out there, going to the grocery store, doing those essential things, that we're all wearing a mask and we're really paying attention to what that looks like. Again, and you can also wear a scarf if you don't have a mask. There is a group on Facebook, it's called Mask Across Nevada. They have been making masks for free. So if I could just plead with any of you seamstresses out there that could help them out, that would be fantastic. If you could, give them to the general public. I would certainly check with the hospitals first to see what they need. I know that they have certain requirements on their masks. So I would just kindly request. So again, I'm requesting that everyone wear a mask. I've had, I have to begin to tell you that we're starting to see deaths from this virus, and it's going to hit incredibly close to home for some. Some of you have already probably been impacted. So I think this is the time to really stress how severe this situation is. And especially over this next month, again, we're going to see people that we know and we love. And so you need to realize that we have our, people on our front lines, like our doctors, our nurses. These are our heroes, our REMSA transporters, our dispatchers, people that are going to be inundated dealing with this crisis in the community. If you can do one thing for them, one thing for your city, not even for your city as well as your country, our response is going to dictate the outcome. So I want to be very clear about that. Our response is going to dictate the outcome. Right now, the only weapon that we have to this virus is ourselves. And we can do that by staying home. So I can't stress that enough. It is incredibly serious. And like I said, the next month is going to be long and it's going to be incredibly challenging and very difficult. I want to just say, if you're a food server, please make sure you're wearing gloves, or if you're a delivery driver, please make sure you're wearing gloves. I believe it's through the health department anyway, but I've had a lot of requests about food servers. So I would just ask you take every precaution that you possibly can. I've had a lot of people ask me about groups outside. We encourage you to be outside. It's really important that you do get fresh air and that you do exercise, but we are asking that you do not congregate in groups. We're seeing, basketball, we're seeing golf, things like that. If you're going to do that, we ask that you do that in twosomes. I also would ask our business partners, please do not push the limits. If you are not an essential business, we will fine you. And I am extremely serious about that. I know it's challenging, it's hard because we're not bringing in a paycheck, and we're all just trying to do whatever we can to make our businesses work. I know that many of you have jumped online or you've modified your business, and I'm so grateful for that. But there are some people that are pushing the limits. And like I said, we will fine you for this activity. Last, I want to thank, our Reno Police Department, our Sheriff's Department, our regional partners. My council members have been tremendous. All of us have been on the phone. I know I'm on the phone about, 12, 13 hours a day on various conference calls. Everyone is working incredibly hard. I want everyone to be so proud of our community, because I really am. I mean, I don't doubt this community for 1 second, but we really are a resilient community. And we're very, very fortunate to have so many people out there giving. We've got Kay of Bromley, who's sending meals to our healthcare workers. That's really, really important because they're working overtime. We've got Grounds Bakery that's sending meals to the shelter. Everyone has just stepped up in a big way. But if there's anything that you can do to help, please email me at my office. That's mayor@reno.gov. And some of the things that we're kind of asking for, this is a big ask, but if any of you have trailers, things of that nature, we have healthcare workers that don't want to go home and infect their families. We have doctors and nurses sleeping in garages and things like that right now, because they are being extremely stringent about how they're interacting with their families. So if anyone has anything like that, if you have N95 masks, if you are a seamstress, please, whatever you do, please email me at mayor@reno.gov. We would be incredibly grateful. But I want to tell you, this community has stepped up in a huge, huge way. Last but not least, I think if there's any one thing that you can do, because people ask me all the time, hey, Mayor, what can I do for this community? I would say, bottom line, please stay home. Please stay home. If you are a non-essential business, please stay home. And then lastly, I would say, thank you to our media partners. I know it's really challenging for you guys as well. You're seeing, advertisers that don't have money anymore, and you're seeing those decline. So I want to say thank you so much, you guys, because of you, we are allowed to get the message out, the most important messages out to the community. So thank you.
All right, fantastic, Mayor. So we'll start kind of going round robin here, and we'll start with Ann Jeanette. You are
you were the first one in, so she gets all the time.
There you go. Go for it, Ann Jeanette, if you unmute yourself.
Okay.
Has the city taken any actual, I know the city council put off its discussion on what to do budget-wise, but has the city started implementing any cuts or layoffs or anything of that nature yet?
Well, no, not yet. We had that discussion. We hope to keep everyone on. We will probably ask for pay cuts. I think, there is a very big reality here that we will have to modify our budget greatly. We're going to have more talks about that. We hope not to lay anyone off, but we are going to have to make some significant cuts and hard decisions. And unfortunately, I'm on the phone every morning with mayors, and this is the reality here that we're going to have to, it might be incredibly painful.
We'll go with Bill Densler next with the Review Journal.
Hi, Bill. Oh, I can't hear him.
Okay. You should hear me now.
Oh, I can hear you now.
Okay. Thanks for making some time for us. You mentioned a little bit about the enforcement. I was wondering if you've actually if Reno's actually done any enforcement of
Yeah.
non-essential businesses, and also enforcing the stay-at-home order. The governor, as you know from yesterday, he kind of said it's been unenforceable in other states, and I'm wondering what your attitude is about that.
Yeah. So I've been talking to our business department regularly every day. And they're going out and checking on businesses, and they have issued warnings. And they said the next step is to absolutely issue fines. And I would support that 100% right now. I'm not so sure that some of those businesses are understanding the severity of this. So I would be extremely supportive. I do know that they have been visiting businesses, but I also want to say this. There are a lot of businesses that are doing a fantastic job that are, really adhering to the message, which is great. And then your other question was about, the stay-at-home order.
Right. Yeah. The governor, and when he took it to the level of a mandate yesterday, he also acknowledged that he really wanted people to cooperate, and that in terms of enforcing it with fines or penalties, it was kind of unworkable that way. I'm just wondering if that's
right.
Your position as well.
Well, it's really challenging, and I think you want it to be a message of community, right? Instead of enforcement and dictatorship. It needs to be community wide. And I think the other thing is like I was saying earlier, this is really, doing it for your city, but also your country. If you're hearing now, everyone's talking about what's happening across the country and how all of us are in this together, and what we do now will be the outcome.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go with Bert now.
I don't see Bert on the screen.
Hello, can you all hear me?
We can hear you. I just can't.
Oh,
Can't see you.
let's see, there it is. Hello, Mayor Schieve, thank you for taking a little time. You mentioned the role of media in getting out messaging about coronavirus. Of course, the Reno News and Review unfortunately just folded.
Mm-hmm.
If the city of Reno has the ability to help out any of the local media, especially the News and Review.
Right. Well, one of the things that we're going to put on the agenda is some emergency communications. We think that that's really important because we are starting to see some of these news outlets have to close shop, and that is incredibly concerning. If you really thought about it, if you guys were not at the table and helping us message this, this would be incredibly, incredibly challenging. So that's something that we're going to put on the agenda because we think it would be very helpful if you could push out the city of Reno's messages, to keep people updated on from education to data to things that we need you to know. So I think now more than ever, and I know it's funny because politicians usually have a different relationship with media, right? Some run from you, some run towards you. But I think now more than ever, again, when we talk about community, I think the media is absolutely essential. And we want to see you guys be able to stay afloat so that, you remain with us in the community. We think that that's really important. So it will be an agenda item. So I would say, come and make your public comment. Okay. Anjanette, come make your public comment.
All right, we'll go to Bob Conrad with This Is Reno.
Oh, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, you now.
So Mayor, I know not just myself, there's a handful of media folks very concerned about lack of information from the Washoe County Health District. We saw yesterday the health officer blatantly refusing to answer questions. Is the city getting information that the rest of us aren't? Are you concerned about this?
Mm-hmm. Thanks for the question. Yeah, I have to tell you, I am very concerned. I think this is the time to be very transparent about information. And here's the thing, and I don't know what the reason is for that, and I don't know why it's so secretive, because that information does eventually, come out from what I know a few hours later. But even still, I think that this is the time to be incredibly honest with the public. I don't want to make anyone panic, and maybe that's their reasoning, but I think that people right now should be very vigilant and take this so seriously. I can't stress that enough. And I think if we are not getting that kind of information from the health department, then it's really hard for us to make the best decisions possible, because we rely on that information to, whether it's, how many ventilators are in the city, or, how many people have tested positive. It's funny, if everyone could see this, I'm watching all the media on here and you guys are all, you just sneezed. So, but I just think that it's incredibly important to be transparent with that information, because then we can make the best possible solutions, or come up with the best possible solutions to those issues if we know what they are. But if they're not, then we're left in the dark.
So a follow-up, if I may, just real quick. I know a couple weeks back, there was concern from the first responders, RPD, REMSA, so on, not having information from the health district. Is that still a concern? And was an AG's opinion ever issued regarding sharing that information with first responders? I know it was going up to the level of the governor and the attorney general. Was that ever issued?
Yes, so it was. Our Reno police chief, Jason Soto, received that absolutely in emergency situations such as this, and in emergency declarations, that information absolutely has to be shared. And again, I think, I understand that there's some information, through HIPAA and all of that, but we also have to be able to go in there and serve our citizens the best possible way. And if we don't know how to do that or protect them, if we're going to go to a service call and let's say someone is a positive, they need to be protected with the right PPE to go and handle those situations. We're not asking for, any personal information that would violate HIPAA, but certainly to identify that so that we can protect everyone.
Thank you.
Good stuff. All right, so Channel 2's having some audio issues, but I do have their question. We know that we've got an aggressive cleaning program inside our buildings and fire departments and police departments, but what are thoughts about doing any cleaning for sidewalk and exteriors of buildings that are city-owned?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Public Works is really addressing it. They've really ramped up their cleaning and sanitizing all throughout the city. I think if you're not doing that by now, you're really kind of late in the game. And so I think every department, we're even seeing it with different businesses. And people have really started to understand how important it is to wash your hands, to sanitize, those kinds of things. And so no different at the city of Reno, we're doing all the extra precautionary measures. I don't think that you can ever be too safe. Like I said, that's why I'm requesting people to wear masks. I would rather be over prepared than under prepared. So I think whether you're in the newsroom and you're working, 6 feet apart from people, go in there and wipe down your desk, and especially the door handles. Door handles are really important, and your TV remotes. People forget about their TV remotes, but those kinds of things are important. So I would say wherever you can take extra precautionary measures, that's critical.
We'll go to Jacob next.
I can't hear you. Can
There
you
we
hear
go.
him?
What
Yeah.
just unmuted me. So I'm curious really about how the city plans to handle any shortages of space. Say the hospital system becomes stressed as the number of cases rises. What can the city do to handle those kinds of shortages?
Right. And again, going back to my point, that's why we need that information from the health department so that we can make those decisions. Fortunately, the city is very fortunate to have quite a bit of space from the convention center to other properties. And also because we have casinos here, we have large parking lots. These are all spaces that we have identified, whether it's for makeshift hospitals or for allowing, people to have campers there or setting up tents or whatever the community needs. So again, we've got a lot of space and a lot of facilities that are ready to go, and we have identified those.
All right, we'll go to Kenzie next.
Uh-oh, I can't hear her.
Sorry, now
There.
I'm here. Thank you for taking some time to do this. I know you already kind of touched on this. Parks are closed, tennis courts are closed. We're getting tons of calls about the golfers. I know you encourage twosomes, but just what can you say to people who are looking to get out, enjoy some recreation around here and do it safely?
Yeah, I think it's a great point. I think, get out and walk, definitely get out there and run. And, you can still, do those things, but we ask that you, do not have basketball games, things where you have large groups. I think that's really, really important now with, there's still so much we don't know about this virus, right? And if anything, I mean, for 30 days, I'm just asking you and pleading with you. I shouldn't put a timeline on that because we really don't know. But when I say 30 days, this is going to be a very, very challenging month. And if we can all do this together, I know it's painful medicine now, but even those little actions could be saving lives. And again, we don't know a lot about this virus, but sometimes, they're coming up with new information. Sometimes, it's hard to figure out. 1 minute you hear, wear a mask, don't wear a mask. It's airborne, it's not airborne. Today, they were saying that it very well could be airborne. So that's why we ask you to keep that social distancing. It's really, really critical. So if this is the month to, scale it back, this is whenever I would ask you as your mayor and telling you that there is a reason to do that. I'm not doing it to be mean, and I don't want you to get outside or play golf. I want you to be outside, but I would just ask, please do not go in the clubhouse and congregate. We want you to, be outside, but we also want you to please practice social distancing. And I want people to remember who we're doing this for. It's our nurses, it's our doctors. We all have probably nurses, doctors, front lines in our families, loved ones. This is going to be challenging. We're all going to know someone very, very close to us, if you haven't already, that is going to lose their life to this virus.
All right, we'll go to Colo next.
Oh,
May have some Colo stuff. We'll come back around to you after everyone's had a round. We will go now to Paul.
I actually don't have a question right now. Thank you, though.
That's okay, not a problem. Then we will start back up at the top. And Jeanette, your second question, go ahead.
I think I'm good. Thanks very much.
All right, Bill, anything else?
okay. Uh-oh.
Wearing a mask, can you hear me okay?
There we
Oh,
go.
now I can.
Okay.
Okay.
On the instructions about wearing masks, is there anything the city can do for people who don't have a mask or don't have a bandana? Is there any kind of
Good question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first of all, yes, if you have a bandana, if you have a scarf, I want to see the entire city of Reno wearing masks. That's what I want to see. I'm told I can't mandate that. I would if I could. But I want to see everyone wearing a mask. Most people, in their home have some type of cloth that they can use. Right now, it's really important. And remember, when you're wearing a mask, you can be asymptomatic and not know that you could carry this virus. And that's why we ask people to do that. And again, I want to stress the N95 masks should be saved for our healthcare workers and our frontline responders. I think people really need to understand that. They're different. They still offer you protection, just a regular, a regular mask or, regular scarf or bandana. Most of us, especially in Reno, if you've ever been to Burning Man, you have a bandana, right? So I would just ask, would you please do that? And I think it would also offer a lot of people that are in those grocery stores a little bit of comfort. But I also want to stress, if you're wearing a mask, it does not give you a pass. Okay, it does not give you a pass. That does not mean that you are not going to get this virus. Everyone needs to understand that. It's just a precautionary measure that, you know, I would like to ask everyone to please implement. I would imagine the CDC will do this. You saw all over China, they were incredibly strict with masks. If they went outside, they were incredibly strict with their gloves. And I would say, you know, this is the time to do it. This is serious.
Bert, you can go ahead.
Thank you. Another question for me is Governor Sisolak is mobilizing the National Guard and Air National Guard. Do you have any sense of what that mobilization is going to look like here in the community? Have you been in touch with the governor's office about that?
Yeah. Well, I'm really glad he did. I'm not surprised. I think it's a great move. You've got Adjunct General Andra Berry, or General Andra Berry. He's fantastic, and we are all in great hands. The general, they can be, or the Air Guard can be brought in under, you know, certain different circumstances. You know, whether it's sort of a police measure, or they also help with planning and preparation for makeshift hospitals. It's just, you know, having the boots on the ground. You know, I don't know in what capacity he will have them, you know, where he's going to direct them. That's up to the governor. But I think it's a very wise move. And I think we're really in good hands. And it makes, I think, a lot of us feel like just, you know, we have more partners at the table, and we're really grateful. Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll go to Bob.
Hi, Mayor. We've had a couple folks contact us regarding the increase of waste management fees effective yesterday. I believe the amount was about 3.5%. However, the city and the local jurisdictions are helping consumers out with like sewer fees and things like that. I think I just saw that come in from the JIC. Is there something the city is going to be doing to work with waste management? I understand that these fee increases are sort of on autopilot and, you know, may have been instituted well before this pandemic. Is that something the city is working on or concerned about at all?
Yeah. So we will put that on our agenda so that we can take action on that. Certainly, okay. I think it's in the contract and it just rolls right into it. But I think during this time, we need to do whatever we can so that we don't add any more strain onto our citizens that aren't bringing home paychecks. Obviously, incredibly concerning. This is not a good time to be doing something like this when so many of us are struggling. And so that'll absolutely be a discussion on the agenda. So just know that that's going to come up.
All right, Jacob, it's you.
All right, I actually don't have another question, so.
Okay, no problem. So Channel 2 is asking about construction sites that I know down in the south, Legion Stadium and some others had some questions. We've seen a little bit of construction here. What's your take on what construction sites should be doing?
Well, they have guidelines. The good thing is many of you know Paul McKenzie, used to be council member McKenzie. You know, he's with the building trades. I called him immediately. If I get complaints into my office, I call immediately to find out. Sort of sent him on a tour yesterday to look at, you know, some of those sites. I'm getting a lot of positive feedback, which is great, especially, you know, there's that essential construction where they're working outside. There's also the residential construction. And, you know, from what I understand, the closures are under the governor's purview. However, I wouldn't think twice, and I did relay this to Paul McKenzie, that I wouldn't think twice to closing down any of those construction sites if they're not following social distancing, if they're not. Many of the sites too also have hand, sanitize stations and wash stations, which is, imperative. I know they've hired extra OSHA people to go out there. However, I'm very concerned. That's why, I have someone looking into it. And if it's a problem, I'm going to call the governor and ask for him to make sure they do a stop work order immediately.
All right, Paul, you're good to go.
I'm curious, ma'am, have you spoken to the state's congressional delegation or to Congressman Amadei about what the city can expect in federal relief? If
Yeah,
anything.
good question. I don't see you up here, but yeah, so I've spoken to Senator Rosen, I've spoken to Congressman Amadei. It's moving incredibly fast. I think especially up here, he's our representative in the North. And so he's been working 24/7. He's doing a great job, but, we were looking at, certain things that we want to make sure that, that are put in place. It's hard to really tell. And some of that money might come, allocated to the county, where we want to see that it gets, allocated to the city. We looked at, CDBG, just different mechanisms. But after speaking with him, I was, I felt much better that, we have someone there that's, he's been on the phone constantly, and he's been keeping me updated. It's really hard right now to say what that is. I believe he said he thought, there might be another package that would come out, around the 4th of this month, and what that looks like. And so, the thing that I can do is just make sure that they understand our voice here in Northern Nevada. And that's why we've been in constant communication. And I think that's really important, to think about our small businesses and certainly the people like that are 1099, our independent contractors, things like that. I mean, there's a lot of concern out there for just, different groups. And so we want to make sure that they're represented in those conversations at his level.
But is there any sense of a number at this point?
No, I don't know what that looks like. And he says that it changes, constantly. And so, he was also incredibly concerned that, we did not get one federal test kit. And I think it's shameful. And so he said, I said, I would like to get more tests here in Northern Nevada. And so he's been really great. His office reached out to our emergency management team, our incident commander, and they're working on getting more test kits for us. Everyone's been working on that. That's every city, that's every state that's been working on more tests. But I just think that if there's anything that he can do, understand that Nevada, certainly up here in the North, we didn't get any federal test kits.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, Colo, are you guys there? All right, doesn't appear so. All right, and Kenzie, we'll have you wrap it up for us.
Here. I think I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much. Mayor, did you have anything else that you wanted to add?
No, I wanted to say thank you to our community. And I know that I'm stressing how serious this is, because it really is, but I also want to stress that we are a community that comes together. We're resilient. Please have hope. We will get through this. It's going to be tough. I'm not going to lie about that. It's going to be very, very tough. But please, whatever you do, you can make the difference with this virus. It can be you. If you stay home, you can dictate the outcome. So I just want to stress that. And thank you, everyone, so much. And thank you to our media. You guys have been great. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. Again, we have this on our YouTube site. I've also got a cloud recording going. So just follow up on an email from me if you need any of this. If you weren't rolling on it, happy to provide whatever you guys need. All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.